Am I in the house? We're in the house, family. I'm just waiting for this to pop up so I can see it. Okay, we're in the house, family. I'm just waiting. They're giving me a problem behind the scene. You know what I'm saying? I'm doing so many of these motherfuckers. Y'all there? I see y'all. All right. I see you. I see you. Let me get my monitor moving. Let me get my monitor grooving. Let me get y'all in the house, family. And we're going to talk on this. Did the ancient Egyptians colonize southern Russia? The facts is there, family. I'm so glad that I'm able to bring this information so that y'all can go behind the general and do this research. You feel me? I'm so glad that we here today. I want y'all to hit the link in the video description. Go on and be in the house this Sunday, October the 13th, starting at 1 p.m. To all my family out there that got your ticket, be on, 15, 20 minutes before the lecture. You know what I'm saying? I will email you the link. You understand what I'm saying? I tell y'all again, 15, 20 minutes before the lecture, I will email you the link. Do not worry. So just be looking in your email. Hit that link. I'm not going to start until you're there. Okay? I'm not going to start until you're there. So let me make sure. I'm just trying to get my monitor up, family. Okay, I see myself. Man, when you're doing this shit, you got to hang in there. Nah. Okay, I see I'm good. Let me get my monitor up. Monday, I'm going to get started on the Patreon. You know what I'm saying? And so I can't wait to get on that too. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm gonna start cutting into these biblical motherfuckers in a way like ain't never seen before. Guarantee you. I'm leaving no motherfucking stone unturned. I'm coming hard body. So this is information that you can take anywhere. You can take the Pope. You can put the Pope. That motherfucker break down in tears. You know what I'm saying? I got you, motherfucker. I know what you're doing. You know what I'm saying? And so today, as we deal with this topic, did ancient Egypt colonize southern Russia? Now, how many people out there have ever heard of the drink called the Black Russian? How many people ever heard of that drink? That right there is showing you something. You know what I'm saying? That, our people have been, in areas that, as far as an empire. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, the Caucasian did not exist beyond Russia. Just to say Caucasian, that's like a mountain range. One of the mountain ranges, that allowed the Caucasian to come into the southern region. He also came through, via the Himalayas. You know what I'm saying? He also came in through the Caucasus Mountains. You know what I'm saying? And he passed through the Ural Mountains, which is in Russia. You understand what I'm saying? But that southern region, and when I say southern Russia, I'm talking about what they call Georgia, not Georgia in the United States, nigga. You understand what I'm saying? Matter of fact, I got some images, some visuals that we could work with today. You know what I'm saying? Let me see. I'm gonna make sure I get them up. So when we do get into this, I can show. Now, the area which you call Georgia today, in ancient times was called Colchis. Okay? Colchis. It's spelled Colchis. And today, it's still they still call it Colchis. It's a Greek term, and it was rumored by many Greeks that one of the Egyptian kings, if I'm not mistaken, they call him Circe, took an army up there and started what you call a military colony at that point, Georgia in Russia, and I'm gonna show y'all that. You know what I'm saying? Matter of fact, let me click on in. Okay, now what you looking at right there is what we call the Hittite kingdom. Now, the one thing that the Bible states, and we don't use the Bible, we know, but they slipped their hand by telling us some of the information about the area being under black control. Now, when you understand Hittite, the Hittites were from Heth. Heth was the son of Canaan, who was the grandson of Ham. Ham was the patriarch of the African tribes. Now, when you're talking about Colchis, okay, you're talking more up near the Black Sea. You know what I'm saying? But just to show you even there that the Hittite kingdom, what you call Turkey today, was once inhabited by African people. And that's why we always say that what you call the Middle East is nothing but Northeast Africa. The first inhabitants of that area, and if you see right there, you see the Tigris and you see the Euphrates. You understand what I'm saying? And which is what? The land of Nimrod, which is also the Cushite, the Ethiopian. Okay? So you got to understand that African people rule this whole area. Okay? Even up into what you call the Caucasus Mountains. They didn't, and probably had went past the Caucasus Mountains. You understand what I'm saying? But we know for sure, based on the evidence that our people, African people, and particularly the Ethiopians and the Egyptians, through, establishing empires all through Africa, Europe, and Asia, and many researchers going into the area and documenting it. Okay? Now, I'm going to take you to this one document, which is by Herodotus. Now, this is Herodotus, which many people say is a fraud, that he did not exist. You understand what I'm saying? And when you look at many of the things that he said, I can see why they don't want him to exist. Now, when we say Colchis, let me see if I got. Let me show y'all where Colchis is at, so y'all understand. If you look at the top, you see the map up there. That's right there on the Black Sea. You see what I'm saying? You see the kingdom of Colchis, okay? Which even go back to ancient Greek time, which the Greeks ain't ancient, but we just gonna state that so you can understand that this nation of Colchis even existed in much of the Greek mythology, and that you will see not only does Herodotus, but many of their characters, you understand what I'm saying, that are also African, come out of this region. So let me go back to what Herodotus said. What Herodotus said about Colchis. Okay? He said there can be no doubt. Who is Herodotus? Herodotus is the Greek father of history. Okay? And he went into Egypt supposedly, which that's up for dispute. But the fact that European people say that this is the father of their history and he wrote this shit, we gonna throw it in their motherfucking face because, again, these are things that we have always known, and we got to bring forth this information. He says there can be no doubt that the Colchians are an Egyptian race. What did he say? He said there could be no doubt that the Colchians are an Egyptian race. Before I heard any mention of the fact from others, I have remarked it myself. See, I put this in here and put it in italics. That means he didn't have to hear it, from when he saw it, he recognized it himself. After the thought had struck me, I made inquiries on the subject both in Colchis and in Egypt, and I found that the Colchians had a more distinct recollection of the Egyptians than the Egyptians had of them. Still, the Egyptians believe, I put them, but it's still the Egyptians believe the Colchians to be descended from the army of Sosistrus. My own conjectures were founded first on the fact that they have thick lips, broad nose, woolly hair, and are burnt of skin. That's very damaging. See, that's very damaging. That, in this book, the histories of Herodotus was supposedly wrote around 430 BC. So this ain't supposed to be no new book. Okay? He said, what did he say? He says, first, my conjectures are founded first on the fact that they have thick lips, broad nose, woolly hair, and are burnt of skin. If you want to, you probably could go to any, let me come out of that right quick. You could probably go to any secondhand bookstore and get history of Herodotus. Make sure you get your older type, because they're gonna try to get that up out of there. It's what's that guy? It's all translations are not the same neither. You know what I'm saying? I think I get the one I got. I think it's Rawlinson, George Rawlinson, something on that level. And that's the one that, but if you get them, they going to try to, once that became known, Dr. Ben brought that to my consciousness. You understand what I'm saying? Dr. Ben brought that to my consciousness. So, you know what I'm saying? And when I got the book, it stated it just like he said. Said they was burnt, they was woolly hair, broad nose. And so now when we look at Colchis, we see that Colchis is in modern day Russia. It would have been Georgia. Today it's called Georgia. Georgia is one of them, was a part of the Soviet Union. But then when the Soviet Union broke, dismantled, it became its own separate nation. So if you just go in there and say Russia Georgia, and then you put Russia, then, because we're not talking about Georgia down South United States. Oh, man, you talking about Georgia? You know what I'm saying? I say, and boy, niggas, you know how niggas, Georgia? You know what I'm saying? No, nigga, over there in goddamn, up under Turkey, nigga. And then you say, Turkey like the turkey, nigga. You know what I'm saying? We eat for Thanksgiving. No, nigga, the turkey over there in Asia. Okay? So look that up. So documentation. See, I'm backing it up. See, and this is a hint. And many of the Africans never had left. Only recently, with all that, the migrations of the Caucasian, moving them out of destroying these areas. Till now, you don't see so much the African population that was originally there. So when you talking about Africa, you talking about even up to the Caucasus Mountains, down through Iraq, was an extension of Africa, and the first inhabitants of that land would have been African. Now, to many of our family out there that doing, the spirituality, and you got the sorceress Circe. Now, in Greek mythology, it was an African sorceress. A priestess. Her name was Circe, and she was prominent in the Odysseus. You know what I'm saying? Odysseus is one of them Greek so-called heroes, and he going around looking for some. I don't know what he was looking for. I don't know if he was looking, but he come in contact with Circe, and she was considered one of the most powerful sorceresses, not in just Greek, in all of humankind. You know what I'm saying? She's ranked. So when you go off into the occult, you'll find that Circe is highly, respected, if not as the greatest and more, the most internationally known sorceress of all time. Now, if you see me, I had already shown you. If you go back to the Greek vases, and I'm going to show you this. If you go back to the Greek vase, and this is one of the Greek vases, because Circe was the sister of the king of Colchis. Okay? And so we backing that up. This is a Greek vase, and this vase, and it's another vase too, is dated at about, some like, if I'm not, it'll show you like 3 BC, 2nd century BC. So these are old vases. These are not new vases. And so you see Circe, and that's over there look like supposed to be Odysseus, and he's presented as an African. And he's supposed to be a Greek. You see what I'm saying? So you got to, and so this is first-hand information, okay? And here, right here, this is another one showing you Circe, and she was the sister to the king of Colchis. So this again backs up to Herodotus. You see what I'm saying? That when he said he saw them, and and they were black, burnt skin, woolly hair, and then we see on the ancient Greek basis, Circe, even here, Odysseus looked to be African. This base is 5th or 4th century BC. You see what I'm saying? Show her to be an African. So this validates even more so of what I'm saying, that the Egyptians, who had put a colony there under Sesostris, and Sesostris, had even went into Europe. They say he founded Athens, and, he founded the Greek, and we can back that up too. We can back that up, and I'm going to do that on the General Seti's page when we get over there. You see what I'm saying? So you see her there. She putting a potion together for Odysseus, about to get him together. You understand what I'm saying? About to get him together. So she was one of the great oracles, great high priestess of the magical arts, the greatest in all of Grecian history of all. And like I say, she's ranked as one of the greatest oracle high priestess of the magic and, the dark arts than any other oracle. You understand what I'm saying? Of any other oracle. Circe, go look her up. So let me come out of that. So again, that's what I'm trying to tell family. And I'm going to get, and prove that the European not even indigenous to Europe. I'm going to prove that. You know what I'm saying? Because the Africans were in there before the Caucasian don't show up until after the Ice Age. I'm going to prove what I'm telling you. And so now I got Herodotus, who's the father of Greek history. Then I've shown you two. Now Circe, even though she was the sister of the king of Colchis, she had her own island. Now they debate where this island is located. Now some people say that, let me show you, that it's over here. If you see the number 7, it's all the way to the left at the top. You see Aea, okay? And so it's spelled Aeaea. And you see Circe up under there. And so if you look where Colchis would have been, which would have been at the top on the right, right next to the Black Sea, that would just show you, if that's true, that her island was on the other side of Italy, that would just prove how African the Mediterranean would have been. When we say that the Africans founded Greece and Italy and so on and so forth, and I'm gonna get into that in the next video to prove that, because when you look and at the earliest civilizations of Europe, they all in Southern Europe. Ain't no earlier civilization coming out of Northern Europe where the Caucasian originated from. You understand what I'm saying? The civilizations start in the islands of the Mediterranean and move to the mainland of Europe. You understand what I'm saying? Going with the flow of civilization coming down the Nile River, Egypt being the last nation on the Nile. And once it gets to Egypt, it starts to go out into what we call today the Middle East, into what, up into what we call Colchis, Mesopotamia, all this what you want to call Canaan and Israel, which is all later terminologies used on African civilization. And they went, when they got to Egypt, when they got to the Mediterranean, they started to come across in ships, and they landed in the islands first, and then like Crete, which is the oldest civilization in Europe, and then it went to the mainland of Greece, and then it went to Italy, and so on and so forth. And even before it was Italy, it was the Etruscans, which were heavily aligned with the Egyptians. So were the Minoans on the island of Crete, heavily aligned with the Egyptians. Okay, so we're proving this. Okay, now, and to back this up, and then when I said that, okay, let me come back so I can backing it up, that the Egyptians and the Ethiopians. When I speak of Egypt, I speak of the Ethiopians. When I speak of Egypt, I speak of the whole Nile River. Because when they went on military expeditions, the majority of the troops were from Sudan, was from Nubia. That was their infantry. You understand what I'm saying? So when we speak of Egypt, we speaking of the Sudan. We speaking of Nubia also. You understand what I'm saying? Which was the main, majority of the infantry. You know what I'm saying? And so to back this up, we didn't just dealt with Odysseus and Circe. We didn't dealt with Herodotus. You can go to the bar tonight and ask for a black Russian. They probably don't make that shit in the black community. Probably had to go to one of them Peckerwood bars and get you one. But I guarantee you, they still make a black Russian. Okay? Now, the last fact that I want to use is Jason. Okay? Jason and the Argonauts. Okay? And his voyage to get the golden fleece. Okay? Now, when people go look that up, let me show y'all. And I did the Hittites too. So I backed that up too. So not only did I use Herodotus, I used the line as Bible, but have to be decoded. So you can see that when you see Heth is an African. He was the grandson of Ham, which was the patriarch of all of the African tribes. Heth was the son of Canaan. Okay? Now we know, but based on the fact that they were presented as Africans, and that's why they cursed their ass. That's why every African of Ham, Nimrod, Egypt, all the African tribe was cursed in the Bible. Okay? And Heth was of Canaan, was the son of Canaan, who was also cursed because he was African. So they trying to steal the damn land. You know what I'm saying? So they writing up, and that's just like the white man saying, you know, he evolved up out of Africa knowing he ain't evolved out of shit. You always been what you look like. You always been the Siberian monkey. You understand what I'm saying? So you ain't evolved out and you ain't evolved. You understand? You still in a savage state. Now, we gonna deal with Jason and the Argonaut. Now, Jason went on a voyage, a great saga, a great journey to retrieve what is considered the most powerful. It's damn near like the Ark of Covenant. You understand? Giving a person all power. You know what I'm saying? Whoever has the golden fleece is undefeatable. You understand what I'm saying? So it's the Ark of Covenant in the Greek mythology. You know what I'm saying? And so he's going to retrieve this powerful artifact. And so where does he have to go get it? Let's show. I showed you earlier, but let's prove this. Let's prove this. You see him right there? Even though they got him dressed up looking like a Roman, you understand? He's a Greek. You know, he wouldn't have had no goddamn armor or none of that shit. You know what I'm saying? They didn't even have no goddamn armor at that damn time. You know what I'm saying? So they didn't dress him up. So where does Jason have to go get the golden fleece? You see right here, Jason and the golden fleece. He got to go get it in Colchis. This is where the golden fleece, and the golden fleece is nothing other than the sacred worship of Amun-Ra, which is the ram. The golden fleece is a ram's skin. Okay? This is the golden fleece, the ram. You see the ram right there. You know what I'm saying? And so this is nothing other than, and so when Herodotus said that there is no doubt that the Colchians is an Egyptian race, this also document that what he was saying was obviously visible to anybody in the world at that time. And so we dropping heavy facts. So when we say you can't even call him no damn European in that instance. Yeah, if you using the modern sense that under him that continent it ain't even a continent, is the western end of Asia. You understand what I'm saying? Because it is, but politically it's a different area, and so they say, okay, that's Europe. But the first peoples on that landmass were African people. That's facts. You understand what I'm saying? And so what am I trying to do? I'm trying to pinpoint the true origin of the Caucasian. You see what I'm, let me come out to prove. And so I backs my shit up. Wasn't no damn, all of that was African at that time. All the way up into and probably somewhat past the Caucasus Mountains, deeper even into Russia. All of the European, what you call Europe, which is the western end of Asia, all of that was populated by African people. And only after the Ice Age receded, probably around maybe 6,000, I don't even know if I would give them 6,000 years. You know what I'm saying? They start coming down maybe into that area around 2000 BC, but, gradually, maybe 3000 BC, 2000 BC, and then for the first time under Alexander, then they gave the biggest push documented into African land under Alexander, and that's around 300 BC, 332 BC. You understand what I'm saying? And even at that time, so you just looking at maybe the last 1,000 years, and maybe even less than that. Let me take that back. Maybe even less than that. You understand what I'm saying? Where you didn't see the dynamics, and I'm going to say less than that. You know what I'm saying? I would say probably 600, maybe 500-600 years where you didn't see the dynamics change to the point where it's hard for you to tell that the Africans was there. 500-600 years, but most definitely 1,000 years. If you were to go back to those areas 1,000 years, previous, say 1000 BC, you will see a much denser African population in them areas. So even that belonged to us. Why am I? Because I'm trying to show y'all. And at no time, I'm tired of motherfuckers saying the Caucasian is a bleached African. Not true. At no time. You understand what I'm saying? Before the Ice Age, had anyone even seen the European phenotype? They had not even seen the phenotype of the Caucasian. You got a couple of drawings in Egypt, but shit, it ain't like it's a whole bunch, and even that is later times in Egypt. You know what I'm saying? No doubt, if they are there, they not giving no recognition. They ain't putting no dent in shit, so they not giving no recognition. So, you just start seeing a drawing here or there of a Caucasian in, probably in the latter stages of ancient Egypt. Previous to that, there's no documentation of a Caucasian. Okay? They were still trapped up in Russia behind that fucking ice. And even when the ice receded, they didn't just run down. They came down, in groups, in small groups. And then once it became known of the wealth of the southern lands, then the motherfuckers started to become more aggressive and come down in massive raiding, hordes and shit, this, that, and the third. And only then, did you start to really, did they make an impact? You know what I'm saying? But Alexander is basically the first one in 300 and something. Other than that, the Africans was cracking their motherfucking head. You know what I'm saying? We had the up on them. But the one thing, it's almost like, is in hindsight. If we would have known, we would have brought the biggest armies we could and roped them motherfuckers up there in Europe. And matter of fact, we probably would have went across the Caucasus to deal with them motherfuckers in their homeland. You know what I'm saying? Then to let them, but by the time they, our people didn't have, they didn't have the unity. They didn't understand it until it was too damn late. And these hordes had already come down in the tens of thousands. You know what I'm saying? Conquering all of the southern kingdoms. You understand? Over there in what we call the Naga Kush, before the Hindu, the Naga Kushite, conquering that, coming into what they call Mesopotamia, conquering that. You understand what I'm saying? Conquering all that area that you call the Middle East, then coming into Egypt. You see what I'm saying? So people don't understand that the wars that were, Egypt would eventually, inherit was taking place in the areas that you call the Middle East first. They was already won over there. You understand what I'm saying? Because those were African nations and colonies also, but they failed first. And when they failed, then they came into the continent, the physical continent of Africa. Okay? So family, there's facts for you. Go look it up. Herodotus book 2, which is called Euripides. Go look up Circe, the African sorceress, high priest, and oracle. Go look her up. She's the sister of the king of Colchis, which is that's why I brought her up, depicted as an African. Herodotus say that they were Africans, that they looked just like the Egyptians, had the same culture, many of the same cultural attributes. And when you look at the fact that the golden fleece, which is the ram's fleece, the golden ram, which was also venerated in Egypt, is also documentation that, yes, that this is Egyptian culture. And the fact that the term Black Russian still exists in European vocabulary is also documentation. Black Russian. Okay, why would that be in his lingo? Why would that? Because he understands that land originally belonged to Black Russians. They weren't Russians at that time, but see how they flipped the script and define a land, as they want to define it. But before that, it was called Colchis. What they call in Black Russians are Caucasians, which are nothing but a colony, or a military colony that was set up there by ancestors. Go do your research. So I'm proving my point. I'm letting you know. But see, this is just a little taste right here. This is a little taste right here. What I'm showing you today. That's a little taste. I say, let me show them something. You know what I'm saying? But when you come this Sunday, you gonna be like, God damn, man, I ain't never heard no shit like this. With the facts. See, I bring facts. I brought facts. That little bit of shit right there. Facts. Go look it up. And when any motherfucker out there that want to come back and say I'm wrong, bitch, bring it on. Bring it on, bitch. Bring it on. I got something for your ass. That ain't nothing, nigga. My shit stay loaded and cocked. Nigga, I keep it. I keep my intellectual Tommy gun loaded and cocked at any motherfucking time, bitch, letting it fly. So, family, I'm about to go over to the General Seti and get right back. I'm not putting up no notifications or nothing. I'm going live. So, if y'all want to come over there and get this work, I got, 2 short videos that, powerful information. You know what I'm saying? I'm warming up. I'm hot right now. Go and get this information, documentate it, goddammit, and go teach the world and tell them, goddammit, who gave it to you. Say the general then loaded me up again and got me hot with this information, and I'm going to come out here and crush you niggas. And you goddamn Siberian monkeys. Okay? We got you. We doing the documentation, and we pinpoint where they come from. All right, family, check me out. Hit the description, video description. Hit the links, Patreon, KingSeti.com. Creatures from the Caucasian, all in the video description. Hit it, because you're going to goddamn regret it. All right, Black Power, head on over there to General Seti's YouTube page, because it's about to get hot. Black Power.